Hi class, today we're working in Notes 5-3 and we're talking about how to solve two-step equations, and I'm on page 27 in your binder. So when we are solving two-step equations, you need to move the constant away from the side with the variable first. So the constant is going to be the number that's by itself that's on the same side as the letter. So if I draw my lines through these equations, the question is, what is the constant that I need to move first? Well, if I look at the side with the letter, the constant in this case is going to be -9 or -9, either way you look at it. The inverse of -9 is going to be +9 to both sides. If I look at number 2, there's an R here. I'm looking for the constant, the number by itself. The number by itself on the same side as the letter is going to be the 4. Now because it doesn't have a sign, it's actually a positive 4. And think to yourself, what is the inverse or opposite of positive 4? Which is -4 or -4 to both sides. Okay? Let's look at number 3. Take a moment and see if you can figure out what the constant is. The constant in this problem is actually going to be this +17 because it's on the same side as the letter and it's the number by itself, so it's the constant. To get rid of this +17, I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides to do the inverse operation. Okay, now that we know what the constants are, we can actually work towards solving a two-step equation. So let's look at number 1 together. I'm going to draw my line down the middle, just like I would with a one-step equation. But I always need to look for my constant first and remove that, and then I'm going to remove the number with the letter. So if I look at number 1, I need to remove the constant first. Well, here's the n. There's the -2 stuck with the n. The 5 here is the constant. To remove the 5, it's actually a +5 because there's no sign in front of it. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Now, 5 minus 5 is going to be 0, so it cancels. I'm left with all this stuff. -2n is equal to, and if I do -1 minus 5, I get -6. Now we have a second step to do. That was our first step. Now let's do our second step, and I'm going to change colors so that you can see what I'm doing. I have a -2 stuck with my n. When they're smushed, it means multiply, so that means I need to do divide by -2. Watch that negative. To get rid of that -2. These are opposites, so they cancel here. I have n left over on my first side, and -6 divided by -2 gives me +3. Now, this would be my final answer to my problem, but I want to check it to make sure that I got it right. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. 5 minus 2n equals -1. I'm going to substitute in the 3 for the n. Remember, you plug in with parentheses, so I have 5 minus 2 times 3 should equal -1. And if I think of this problem here like an order of operations problem, I'm going to do 2 times 3 first, which gives me 6. So now I have 5 minus 6 equals -1. And then if I plug this in my calculator, 5 minus 6 equals negative 1. And that's what it's supposed to equal on the other side, so I got it right. Take a moment. You try number 2 on your own. If you need to, rewatch the example from number 1 to solve number 2. When you're ready, unpause the video and we'll walk through it together. Alright, now that you've solved number 2, let's go over it. So we start by drawing the line down the middle. We need to find the constant, the number by itself on the same side as the letter, so it's going to be the positive 1. How do I get rid of positive 1? What's the inverse? Negative 1 or minus 1. These are canceling because they're opposites. That was what I was trying to get rid of. So I'm left with 3x is equal to, and 7 minus 1 gives you 6. Now I have to ask myself, how is the 3 connected to this x? Well, they're smushed together, so that means multiply. I need to think what would be the opposite of multiply? Division, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. When I do that here, these are opposites, so they cancel, and I'm left with x is equal to 6 divided by 3 would give you 2. Now, if you didn't get that right, you should have done your check step. I'm going to rewrite the problem. 3x plus 1 equals 7. But remember, I'm going to substitute in that 2 where the x is. So it's going to be 3 times 2, plug in with parentheses, plus 1 equals 7. I'm going to solve this like an order of operations problem now. Do 3 times 2 first, which gives you 6 plus 1 should equal 7, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So 7 is equal to 7, and we got the problem right. Now remember, this here is your answer. Your check step is not your answer. Let's look at the ones down below. You try number 3 on your own. When you're ready, unpause the video and we'll go over it together. Alright, let's go over number 3. So I draw my line down the middle. I need to get rid of my constant first. This 6 is the number on the side of the letter that's by itself. It's a positive 6 because there is no sign in front of it, so it's just a plus, positive. Opposite of positive 6 is negative 6. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. These are opposites, so they cancel. I'm left with negative, don't forget that negative 3x is equal to 21 minus 6. Well, 21 minus 6 is 15. Now I have this negative 3x. I need to get x by itself. So they're squished, so that means multiply. The opposite is divide, and I'm going to divide by negative 3 to move it away. These are opposites here, so they're going to cancel. I'm left with x is equal to, and 15 divided by negative 3 gives me negative 5. That should be your answer, but let's check it to be sure. I'm going to recopy the problem. 6 minus 3x equals 21. Substitute in, so the negative 5 is going in where the x was. 6 minus 3 times negative 5 equals 21. Let's solve it like an order of operations problem. 3 times negative 5 first, which is going to give me negative 15. So I have 6 minus negative 15 should equal 21. Minus minus here will turn to a plus. And 6 plus 15 does give me 21. So I got it right. I'm going to give you a moment to solve number 4. But make sure you're careful when you're solving. This minus minus here is actually going to be a plus. So go ahead and solve number 4 on your own. When you're ready, unpause the video and we'll go over it together. Alright, so let's go over this one. So we had the minus minus, so we turned it to a plus. So now I have plus 8.2 in the m. In this case, the constant is this plus 8.2, so I'm going to subtract 8.2 from both sides. When I do that, this here cancels, and I'm just left with m. And when I do 15.7 minus 8.2, I get 7.5. Now because I don't have a coefficient with my letter, I'm actually done here. That was only a one-step problem. Now we can do our check. We can do m, and we know it's plus, so let's just make it plus. 8.2 should equal 15.7. We're substituting in for m, 7.5. So 7.5 plus 8.2 should equal 15.7. If I add 7.5 plus 8.2, I do get 15.7. So I did get it right, and my answer is good. Go ahead, solve number 5. Try it on your own. When you're ready, unpause the video and we'll go over it together. Alright, let's go over this one quickly. Constant is negative 3, so I need to add 3 to both sides. That'll cancel. I'm left with 4x is equal to, and 25 plus 3 is 28. Then I have a 4 squished with the x. Squished means multiply, so I need to divide by 4 on both sides, and I'm left with x equals 7. Remember, because these are opposites, that's why it's canceled. Let's do our check steps. We have 4x minus 3 equals 25. I'm going to substitute in 7 where the x is, so 4 times 7 minus 3 should equal 25. 4 times 7 I'm going to do first, so that's 28 minus 3 should equal 25. And 28 minus 3 is 25, so 25 is equal to 25. So we got it right. Now let's look at number 6 together. Number 6 can be a little bit tricky because we have the fraction, but that's okay, we can figure it out. Always start with the constant. Here's our constant right there, our positive 5. We have positive 5 to get rid of, so we need to subtract 5 from both sides. Cancels there, so I'm left with 1/3 y equals 6 minus 5 equals 1. Remember, when I have a fraction like this, I multiply and flip to get rid of it. Same as in one steps, I multiply and flip, multiply and flip, cancels there. So I'm left with y is equal to, and 1 times 3 over 1 is going to be 3. If we do our check step, we have 1/3 y plus 5 is equal to 6. I'm going to plug in my 3 where the y is. So I have 1/3 times 3 plus 5 equals 6. Do the multiplying first, like in order of operations. 1/3 times 3 will give you 1, plus 5 is equal to 6, and 1 plus 5 is 6. So we got it right. So go ahead, you can try the problems on the next page, which is page 28.